Hello and welcome to today's Celtra AdCreator webinar. My name is Carl. I'm the Creative Product Specialist for APAC, and today we're going to be taking a look at the fundamentals of building in AdCreator. To get us started, we're going to take a quick look at some of our standard mobile display ad formats. Here are our standard banners. So we have our standard banner, our expandable banner, and our interstitial. And then we have our Interscroller. Interscroller is an exclusive Celtra only format and is available for mobile web, iOS. And Reveal is also mobile web and exclusive Celtra as well. So here's some examples of our units. This is a single banner only. Has progressive asset loading, scrolls with the page content, and also has sticky positioning available. Then we have our expandable format. You can interact with brand content without leaving the publisher page. The expanded unit supports responsive layout or sizing and a customizable close button. Then we have our interstitial. So this automatically appears full screen after page load. Has a large real estate for creative. Responsive sizing is available, customizable dismiss button, and swipe to dismiss and other dismissal gestures in supported SDKs. Then we have our Interscroller. It's a user-friendly interstitial. It scrolls into view with page content. Its intuitive mobile scroll gesture brings the creative to the center and responsive sizing available. Our Reveal format is a variable height banner that overlaps the page content. Captures attention without being intrusive. It has continuous animation between intro and resize states, and sticky positioning is available in the ad tag generator. So that's it for our mobile ad formats. Now let's take a look at the actual ad creator. So you should be able to see now the webinars 2016 campaign. So this is the campaign creative dashboard. The most important things here in the creative dashboard are, first of all, the creative name. Anything with a pencil icon can be edited. The creative ID, this is the number that you quote if you send a support ticket to support@celtra.com. And then we have our trafficking and preview options here on the right. So the most important of these are, first of all, the distribution settings. So when you set up a creative, you can determine the distribution settings. If you need to edit the distribution settings, you can using this option here. Then we have the click event definition. So the click event, this is the event that will be reported as a click to a third-party ad server or the publisher. And then we have our preview options. We have preview in a new tab, and we have QR code as well. So you can scan that and view that on your device. So to create a new creative inside your campaign, just tap New Creative, and then you select your product. Most of you will see either display and rich media display, which is the formats we just took a look at before in the presentation. So I won't go through those again. So today we're going to be building a interstitial. So I'll select interstitial. So we click next, and then we've got select a device. Anything that's grayed out means that that format is not available for that device. So we've only got phone and tablet because interstitial is not a desktop creative. So we'll select phone, and then we've got our distribution settings. So by default, the platform is set to iOS 7 and Android 4 or higher. SDK is MRAID and web browser, and then you've got your main unit sizes. So you can use fixed sized, but I'm going to use responsive layout. And you've also got your orientation. 90% of mobile ads are viewed in portrait, so portrait is the safest option. If you need to, you can use portrait and landscape, but we'll use portrait only today. And if you want to know more about our responsive layouts and sizes and which sizes to use for what device, take a look at our help article in support.celtra.com. Then we click next and we give it a name. So today we're going to call this one AdCreator Builder Fundamentals. And click Create. And we can start building. So this is the AdCreator Builder view. These are all our floating panels we see here. You can close any of these panels by just tapping on the minus sign, and As you can see, they close up on the right here with the list of icons there. And just to explain what we're seeing here, we have you've got your branding at the top, which will take you back to your account view. If you tap on that, you've got your campaign navigation here. So clicking on the campaign name will take you back to the campaign creative dashboard. If when there's multiple creatives in a campaign, you can navigate between creatives using the little drop down menu, and you can also change the creative name by clicking on the pencil. Got the save button there, get used to clicking that one fairly often. And then you have your preview options here, which is preview a new browser tab or QR code, as we saw before. Then down the right, we have all of our icons again. So if you hit these, you can open and close the various panels. We've also got our rulers on and off. And just like with Photoshop, you can drag from the ruler and create a new smart guide. And then down the bottom left, this is responsive layout. So we've got our previews between small device size stage and large device size stage. And then down on the bottom right, we've got Creative ID, the product you're using, the format, and the initial page weight. Try and keep the page weight in the green and the yellow. And I'll just reopen some of my panels again. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get some assets into the creative. So to do that, we can either press the upload button, or we can use file browser, and we can drag and drop assets into the stage. So onto the creative. So there we go. So there's no file size limitation for images in AdCreator, but there is a file size limitation for videos. As you can see here, some of the assets have a at 2x icon, and at 2x is appended to the file name. That means that these are retina images, so they're double density images. The at 2x tells AdCreator that they're retina and treats them accordingly. Then we have our units and pages panel here. So this is how you navigate and create pages in your creative. The master page is shared with all pages except for the loading page, and so the master page is where you would put your backgrounds. So I'll grab my background here and I'll just drop that onto the stage here. And as you can see, it's a little bit oversized, but we can resize that using the image properties panel. And I'll just change its positioning to the center and set everything to 0. And as you can see there, we've got it's not quite fitting right, so we can fix the fitting of an asset. And you've got your fitting options on the design tab. So by default, it's fit for responsive layouts. You can use crop and you can use stretch as well. I'll use crop today. And with cropping, you can set your crop point as well, your actual anchor point. Okay. And then if we have a look at the large screen preview, you can see there now everything fills the whole screen. So that's the master screen. Then we have our loading page. So with our loading page, now if I tap off the stage or off the pages panel, and that'll give me my units properties. So I can customize things on this panel. So I've got my responsive, I can switch it to fixed, I can change the orientation if I'd like. I can also change the stage color, which I'll do right now. So I'll make that black. And we can also customize things like the close button. So I've got a custom close button here, which I'll use. There we go. Okay. Now, if I select the loading page again in the units and pages panel, that'll now give me the properties for the loading page. So you can use our loader, or you can switch that off and use your own animated GIF if you like. But if you use our loader, you can also change the color. So I'll make that green. There we go, and press OK. It's always good to give users a clue as to what's coming up. So we'll put a little logo on there, just as a little hint about what's happening. There we go. And now we can move to the start page. So this is where the creative starts properly. So to get things started, I'll drop a few assets onto the screen. So we have our logo here. I've got align tools on the bottom here of the image properties panel. So I can align that logo to the center, and we can just check that that is centered. There we go. And I'll also grab my drink sun image. We'll pop that one in there. and we'll align him to the middle. And now I want to add some buttons to my creative. So if I go to my components panel here, and here in the components panel, you can see our whole list of available components. Anything that's grayed out means it's not supported by, in this case, it's only supported on the mobile web SDK. If you hover over anything that is grayed out, it'll give you that little pop-up info and explain why that's not currently available. So from the components, I want to select my button. So I'll just drag and drop my button. You can see there it's pre-designed. You don't have to use that design. If we switch to the design tab on the buttons properties panel, you've got all the CSS options available to you. But today we're going to use a custom image. So I'll switch my button to button grab. This is going to be my store locator button. It's going to take people to the store locator page. So I'll just rename that to button store. And I want to have a second button on here because I'm going to do a video page as well. So I'll just Command C and Command V to copy that button. And if you see there, if you hold down Shift when you're moving objects, you get smart guides. You'll see that there, and we can see now with those two assets selected, I've got a multi-object selection, and we can check that those two together are now centered. So there's our buttons there. Alright, so one more thing I want to add. So I'm just going to move my center image down a few pixels, and I'm going to drop a texty component onto the page. This is our HTML text component. There we go. I'll just center that. And then on the design tab, I'll just change the color first of all so you can see it. So there we go. Now I can change the alignment of text. I can also change the font. So let me pick. So we have all our monotype fonts here. So we'll change that the typeface to bold, and we'll change the font size to 18. You can also set the font to scale, so it'll scale with the responsive layout. You can also change the character spacing, and you can also change line spacing as well. There we go. And now to edit the text inside the component, just double click it on the stage and we'll change that to wake up. And then, as I said, it's always a good idea to name things nice and clearly so anyone can come in and understand exactly what's happening with the creative. And so there we go. Alright, so that's our first page. We'll press save on that one and we'll take a quick preview of it. So this is our preview page. On the right we have our device preview sizes. So we've got small, medium and large. And you've also got browser bars as well. You can turn browser bars on and off. So that's our basic unit to begin with. It's okay. Let's try and make it a little bit more interesting. So to do that, I'm going to add some animation. So I'll just move a few things around here and open up my layers panel. And we'll resize that there. There we go. And now I'll open up my events and actions panel. So the basic logic of AdCreator is that you have an event and then you attach actions to that event. In this case, we want animation to appear when the start page appears. So we select the start page, and on the start page, in the events and actions panel, we already have a default appear event. There are other events available for pages. So there's first appear, before appear, and change orientation. Enter and view are for our scrolling formats like Interscroller. Shake uses the device accelerometer, and unit resize is for our reveal format. So we're going to leave it with our default appear event. And so what I need to do is now go into my new actions. This is our action list. And if you go into our support section, you can find out all about all of our actions and features and components. Today we're interested in animate. So I'm going to go to video and animation and animate. And then I select the object I wish to animate. In this case, it's going to be the logo. So what we're seeing here is this is the end state of the logo. So once the logo has finished animating, it's going to end up this wide, this high, in this position. It's going to take this long to get there. So I'm going to change that to 600 milliseconds. It won't rotate. It'll be 100% opacity, and I'll add some easing out at the end, so that'll mean the ending of the animation will be nice and smooth. It'll be a smooth slowdown. So we can add another animate action. You can also copy and paste layers as well. This time I'm going to choose my wake up text, and I'm going to have it animate in over 750 milliseconds. And again, I'm going to add some easing out. Also add animations to my buttons. So I'll grab my button store, except I'm going to link the button layer and the wake up layer. So this means that the buttons will animate after the logo and the wake up text has finished animating. So I've just clicked on the circle on the right, and that means that these two layers are now locked. There's a clock icon there, means that they're connected in time. So what that means is the store button will not animate or won't start animating until logo full and wake up text has completed animating. And so we'll have the button come in over 800 milliseconds, and we'll also ease that one out as well. And I just need to put one more animate on there for the video. And again, it's going to come in over 800 milliseconds. And we'll ease out on that one. So what we're seeing here is we're seeing two assets or two objects are going to animate simultaneously, one slightly faster than the other, and then we're going to have two buttons. They're going to animate simultaneously after the logo and the wake up text has finished animating. The two buttons will animate in together. Now I also want my center image to animate, but I want it to animate while all this is happening. So to do that, I just add a new appear event and add a new animate action. This time I select my drink sun image, and that's again, this is the end state. This is how big it's going to be. This is the position it's going to be. This is the opacity. I'm going to change the duration to 1250, and I'm going to add some easing out as well. So there we go. So now to get these to animate, what I need to do is I need to move everything to its start position. So for the logo, what I want it to do is I want it to scale up from the center. So I've changed its position anchor to the center, and I'm going to lock its width and height. So when I change its size, the change happens proportionally, or it maintains its aspect ratio. And I'm going to reduce that to 34 pixels, which is 50% of its current height, and I'll change its opacity to 0. So it's going to scale up and fade in. Then with wake up, I'm going to move that up by 30 pixels and also change its opacity to 0. The two buttons, they'll come in from the side, so we'll just move them off here. And again, if you hold down Shift and the arrow keys, that'll move your asset or object by 10 pixels at a time. And then for the center image here, the drink image, again, it's going to scale up, and this time it's going to rotate. So it's rotating and scaling from the middle. I'll link its width and height so it resizes proportionally. Change it by 50% down to 25%. I'll rotate it 720 degrees, and I'll change its opacity to 0. So if we save that and switch to our previews automatically update on save, and there we go. So that's the basics of animation. So now we can dive in and have a look at dynamic content. So one important thing to understand about dynamic content is that you need to apply any actions or animations to content to the dynamic condition rather than to the page level. So what I need to do is my drink sun animation here. I'm going to remove that from the start page appear event. So I'm going to hit Command X, and then I can delete that appear event there and leave the one appear event left. And then on my drink sun image, if I select that in the dynamic content panel, which you open by just clicking on the satellite icon there, we've got multiple signals that you can choose from. We have audience, we have time of day, part of week. We have location, weather, placement, and platform. Today we're interested in weather, so we're going to turn weather on. Now if you notice then in the layers panel, the drink sun image turned into a dynamic content group with a default layer in it. So this is important. So this is our dynamic content group. We can't apply any actions or animations to the group, so that's fine. All we need to do is rename it. So I'm just going to call this one dynamic content drinks, because what we're going to do is we're going to add multiple weather conditions and change the drink sun image based on those conditions. So if you see here in our assets panel, we have a drink sun, we have a drink snow, and we have a drink rain. So we're going to create a snow condition and a rain condition and show these different images based on those conditions. So what we need to do here first is for the default condition, and we recommend you always have a generic or fallback condition for default, just in case for whatever reason the ad doesn't receive the signal. So for this one on the condition met event, so I've got my default condition selected in the dynamic content group, and on the condition met event in the events and actions panel, I'm going to paste my animation that I copied before. And so that's my drink sun image. So what this means is that if there's no signal received by the ad when it's served, the drink sun image will appear, it will rotate up like it did before. So that's all we need to do for that one, that's fine. So we can add our first real condition. So I just hit add condition and then tap the options there, and that brings up the precipitation, temperature, and wind options. I won't go through these. You can find out more about our dynamic conditions in our support section. But for this for today, I'm going to use sunny. First of all, press OK. Now, because sunny and the drink sun images are the same, there's nothing more I need to do with that. As you can see, I've got a new sunny layer in my dynamic content group, and that layer, everything's copied over the drink sun image and the animation for that image as well. So I can add my second condition, which is going to be rain. Press OK. And now with the rain, again, the image is copied over, but I want this image to be different. So because my images are the same size for this particular creative, I can use a little trick here using the design tab and switching out the image. So in this case, I'm going to switch the image from drink sun to drink rain, and I'll just rename it to its correct name. And then if we have a look here on the animation, we can see here now that the image changed. It's now the latte, which is our rainy day image. And so I can do the same thing for snow. So I'll add condition and snow, press OK, and then select my drink image there, go to the design tab in the image properties, and this time I'm going to select the snow image, go back to info and rename it to snow. And again, the animation's been copied over, and as you can see, it's now our hot chocolate. So there we go. We've just added our 3 new weather conditions in there, so that's all dynamic. We do all the hard work. And we'll have a look at the preview now. And we can simulate the context. So you open the simulate context panel, and then in this case we're interested in weather. So any is the default. So there we go, there's the drink sun image for the default. Then we have sunny. We can check rain. And we can check snow as well. So there we go. Nice and easy, very quick and easy to add contextualized dynamic content to your creative. So now we've just made a very interesting creative. So we're going to move on now, and we're going to create a new page, and this one's going to be for our store locator. So you can either add a new blank page or you can copy the existing page. You can also delete a page using the trash icon. We're going to create a new blank page, and we're going to call that one our stores page, because this will be our store locator. And I'll go back to my start page, and from the layers panel, and in the layers panel you can drag objects up. So I'll just move my logo up to the top here, so you can reposition assets if you need to. It works just like Photoshop. So I'll select my logo and Command C, I'll copy it, and then I'll paste it onto my stores page. I can reset it because right now it's half its height and it's 0% opacity. So in the image properties panel, I just hit reset. It takes it back to its original size and change the opacity to 100%. There we go. Now from the components panel, I'll select my locator. So if we scroll down here, we see we've got our location options, or location components. This is our locator panel, locator component. I'll drop that on there. We'll just position that in the center, and I'll rename it as well to locator stores. So then we have our settings tab. So we have our source. If you're using the component for the first time, you can download the sample locations list by hitting the download link. and you can save that to your local device, and that'll give you all the fields and information that we need for the locator. I've got one prepared, so I'll select one from import file and grab my locator there and press OK. And we can change the units, so from imperial to metric. We can change the address standard, US to EU. You can also show the directions button. The directions button will open the user's app and map app and give them directions from their current location to the store that they're interested in. Then we have the default map view. You can change that to a specific location. So I know, for example, there's a New York location in my list. So if I type New York, then that'll give me New York, which is actually in the list, or I can show all locations as well. And then we have our fallback. So fallback works if the location services is not enabled or the user doesn't allow location services. So you can either fall back to a specific address, or you can fall back to the zip prompt or the postcode prompt. And then we have our basic design options here on the design tab. So we can change the color to green. There we go. And you can also add custom pins as well. So I'll add a pin. Alright, so that's our store locator. So the last thing we need to do on this page is add our back button. So I showed you how to do a button before using a component. This time I'm going to use just an image, and we'll center that one, except this time I'm going to use a hotspot. And for accessibility purposes, you may want to have your hotspot a bit bigger than your button. We can do that. Now with hotspots, you also get a couple of extra events. You've got swipe events as well. And if this was a desktop creative, you've also got mouse over and mouse out. But we'll use tap, which is the default event, and we'll go to standard, go to page, and we'll select start. We also have page transition animations. So we have fade, slide, flip, and cube. Flip and cube are 3D. Now if I select 3D, I get a instant QA warning down here in the bottom left, and that tells me that 3D animated page transitions are not supported on Android. So I can keep that if I wanted, or gracefully fall back to a fade between pages on Android, or I can change it to a 2D transition, which I'll do. I'll change that to slide. Then you've also got your directions, so east, west, north, and south. I'll keep it east, and your speed, slow, normal, and fast. So I'll keep that normal. So that's our store locator page. So to get it working, all I need to do now is go to our stores button, and on that tap event, add my go to page action, stores, and I'll select slide, and this time it's going to go west. All right, and we'll save that, and we'll have a look at the quick preview. Grab one nearby. That's our zip prompt there, so just type in zip for New York, and there we go. There's our location. Now if I swipe, it gives it a little pop-up to indicate that there's more information. If I tap on that, then that gives me the location information. This is the directions button, which will open up the map app and give users directions to this location. Then the phone, email, and web icons appear if there's a phone number, an email address, and a URL in the location data. If there's not, these icons won't appear. And tap to close, then I can zoom in and zoom out. I can also search by suburb or location. And if the map is off center, I can recenter it by hitting the center icon. And then we'll select back, and that's back to our start page. Alright, so to finish off today, we're just going to do one more page, which is our video page. So I want everything on this page except for the store locator. So I'll copy this page, and this will get renamed to video. And I can delete my store locator because I don't need that anymore on that page. And I'll select my video from the assets panel. As you can see, it's a bit oversized, so that's fine. If I lock the width and height, I can resize it proportionally. And we'll center it, make it in the middle. There we go. And when we have our content options, so you've got poster image. This one's using an auto-generated one, but if you had an image in your assets panel, a custom thumbnail, you could select that. Then we have our settings. We have the use for, so full video or teaser. Teasers are used for banners. And then the fit, so fit or crop. So if we have a look at the large screen size, we see we're going to have these letterbox bars there. So to get rid of those, I can change the fitting to crop. And then we've also got our behavior options. So autoplay when selected, start muted is checked and grayed out. There's no workaround for start muted. It's required by IAB and it's enforced at the OS level on Android and iOS. Then we have our design options. So you've got your control visibility. Default is hide after 3 seconds. You can have always or never. We'll leave it as hide. We'll show the progress bar. We'll change the progress bar to green to match our layout, and we'll turn off full screen button. You can also add play, custom play, and custom replay images as well. There we go. Alright, so our back button is already going back to the start page, so all we need to do now is on our video button, add a go to page action, and this time we're going to select video page, and we'll slide, and we'll make that one go west, and we'll click save. And there's our video, there's our progress bar, disappears after 3 seconds, and there's our custom play button. And we go back to the start page. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or would like to know more about what we covered, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself directly at Carl with a C at Celtra.com, or to our support team at support@Celtra.com, and also check out our support section. It's a handy resource, and basically you can search for anything that you're interested in. For example, our creative API. So this is a very handy resource, and we recommend that you take full advantage of it. If you do need support, then just contact support@Celtra.com. So there's the email address. And if you've got creative issues, this is the information that we need. Reporting issues, again, this is the information, and trafficking issues. One last thing is we'll just show you, as some of you may not be aware, that we have our insights section on our main website, so celtra.com/insights. Here you'll see all our reports, our infographics, our webinars, our case studies, but we'll also have our ad gallery. So our ad gallery is a great resource for getting ideas and looking at how people are using the platform at the moment and all the creative things that everyone is doing. So Insights is a great resource. Alright, that's it for today. Hopefully we'll see you again in the not too distant future. Have a great day. Bye bye.